Hi guys, welcome back to my React course. And if you are joining my channel for the first time, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video and comment on the video and also share. Please don't forget to do that. Subscribe, like and comment. Alright, in our last class, we did quite a number of things. We learned how to create React app traditional way. We learned JXS. We learned component. We also learned how to nest component, just like the way we have it here. And in this class, or this is just like a continuation of last class. So we are going to, in this section, we are going to be focusing on props. This simply means property. We're going to focus on props. We're going to focus on export and named export. How to use JXS with JavaScript with JXS and inline CSS. How to use CSS with JXS and all that. So I'm going to look at all of this today, and by the end of the class we should be able to build this website, this one that we have here, this web page. We should be able to build it. So let's go straight to the point. Here I'm just going to alter this component a bit. I want to have a component. I'm going to change this my name to my details. I'm going to change it to my details. So all of this here, the p tag that I have here, I'm going to cut it. I want to return a JXS here. So what I'm going to do is, so I want to return a fragment. So I'll do this here. I'll cut this part. I'll do it there. Alright, good. So I'll paste what I copied there. I'm going to change this to I love coding. I love coding in React. So I'm going to delete this. I love coding in React, and I'm going to delete this. So this, then the next one. So I don't need this my skill anymore. I just delete it. Then this part here, I'm going to also copy it. I'll cut it and paste it here. Alright, good. So I don't need these two as well. Alright, good. So here I'm going to delete this. Or now I'll return my details. It's going to be in a tag. Yeah. So let's see what we have. So can you see? Still the same thing. Oh, let me refresh. So I have the same thing here. Alright, so this is what we have. Still the same thing, just a slight change. Just slight changes. So I'm a full stack web developer. I love coding in React, and my name is Joshua. So we have this. Let's just remove this line in our index.html. What is that? So let's remove this. I don't think I need this. Alright, let's save that. Let's come back here. If you refresh that, and you won't see this anymore. Alright, so we are correct. We are correct. Okay, we are asked to download some things here. So that will be later. Alright, so let's move on. Okay, now let's discuss props. Let's say, for example, I want to this is my details here. This is the details component, and we are returning this detail component inside of this component called first component. So this first component is the parent component of this. So we are nesting my details into this component called first component. So now let's say for example I want to pass in an information. This will lead me to props. Now let's go there first. What exactly is props? Props actually stands for property. That's the meaning of props. Props stands for property. Props stands for property. So how do we pass props to a component? So React components use props to communicate with each other. Every parent component can pass some information to its child component by giving them props. Please take note of that. It says every parent component, just like the way we have it here. Here, this first component is the parent component of this component that we are returning from the parent component. So it says every parent component can pass some information to its child component by giving them a props. So props is like the HTML attribute. So props is actually an object. Props is an object which stores the value of attribute of a tag and works similar to the HTML attribute. So here it says props might remind you of HTML attribute, but you can pass any JavaScript value through them. You can pass an object, you can pass an array, you can even pass function, you can pass primitive values too as well, like strings, numbers, what they call it, boolean. You can pass those, you can pass this JavaScript value as a prop to the child component. So like I said prop simply means property, and props is similar to the HTML attribute, and props is also similar to JavaScript argument. So let us move on. So let's say for example I want to pass a prop here. I want to pass an information, and mind you, I told you that the props are passed down from the parent to the child component, from the parent component to the child component. So let's say in this case where we have my div, and let's say for example I want to pass person equals Joshua, like this, and I save. So person equals Joshua. Can you remember this? It's like an HTML attribute. An HTML attribute consists of the attribute name and the value of the attribute name. So in this case, let's say the person is the attribute name and Joshua is what? The value of what? The attribute. Did you get that now? Alright. So this is similar to what? HTML tag, HTML attribute. But we are passing this as a props to what? To this my details component. So this one now, for us to be able to use it inside of, or let's say for example, let me change this Joshua to Caleb. Let me change it to Caleb and let me save. Now we have person called Caleb. So like I said, you can pass in any JavaScript object. It can be a string, it can be a number, it can be an object, array, and all that. So this is it here. So all of this is the props. This is what a props. This is a property. So, and I told you that props is actually an object that is used to store the value of an attribute. So now let's say this is the attribute called person, and the value that we are storing inside of it is what? Caleb. So now for us to be able to use these props in our my details component, we have to pass it as a parameter. We have to do something like this, props. You can't give it any other name. It has to be what? Props. So it has to be what? Props. So now, can you see how similar it is? It's like, so props is similar to HTML attribute, and it's also similar to JavaScript argument. When you pass, can you see that now? It's very simple. So now let us console.log props and let's see what we have. Let's see what we have. So console.log props, you save that. Let's come to our browser. Now look at what we have. We have person Caleb. You know, I told you that props is actually an object that is used to store the value of an attribute of a tag. So it is an object. So the prop itself is an object, and we are storing what we have here. The person equals to Caleb into what? Into the props. So this is what we have here. So you can see that it is inside of an object. So the person now is serving as what? The property, and the Caleb now is serving as what? The value. So for us to be able to get, for us to be able to use the Caleb value inside of this H1 here, we have to make it dynamic. So we have to be props. So we have to put it inside of, because now we are trying to perform a JavaScript function, a JavaScript logic inside of a GXS. And for us to be able to write JavaScript inside of GXS, you have to use what? Curly brackets. Just like the way we have it here. It says JavaScript in GXS with curly brace. It says sometimes you will want to add a JavaScript logic or reference a dynamic property. Reference what? A dynamic property inside the markup. So this is our markup here. This is our markup. Everything here, what we are returning from here is our markup. So it's the GXS. And how can we now use JavaScript inside of what? GXS. How can we write or add JavaScript logic or reference a dynamic property inside of our markup? So in this situation, we have to use what? The curly brace in our GXS to open a window for JavaScript. So in this case now, we are referencing a dynamic property. So we have to put it inside of what? A curly brace. Because if we don't put it inside of a curly brace, there's no way it will be seen as what? A JavaScript expression. So now we have put it inside of a curly brace. So what we need to do is to now get the value. That means the Caleb. To get the value, we need to do props dot what? Person. Props dot person. So I hope you remember. I hope you know how object work. Object literal. So let's say the props now is the name of the object, and the person is the property that is inside of props, and also the value. So can you see? So for us to get the value, we have to do props dot what? Person. So if you save that now, and let's come to our browser, let's see what we have. Now can you see? My name is what? Caleb. My name is Caleb. But we can destructure this. You can do it like this, and also you can destructure the properties that is inside of the props object. You can destructure it. So to destructure it, we know that what is inside of props is just what? The person property. So let us destructure it. So we'll say const like this, then we'll pass in the person, and we call it props like this. So here we don't need to console.log props. We already know what it means. So in this case, I don't have to pass in props.person. Since I've destructured it, I'll just pass it like this. Person, and it's going to give me the same result. Can you see? Caleb. Alright, so we can do it like this. We can pass in a prop like this. And also we can also do it like this. Let's say for example, I can do const my name, for example. My name equals to what? Caleb. My name equals to Caleb, and we save. So mind you, this my name here is not a component. It is what? It is just a variable. Component usually starts with what? Capital letter. So it's a variable. So this is it here. So now how can we reference this my name into this props as a value of this props of this property props? So how can we do that? We can do it like this. Since we are trying to pass in, we are trying to dynamically get the value of that is stored inside of my name. We have to do it in a curly brace. So we'll pass it my name like this, then we save. So it is still the same thing. So if you save now, still the same thing. Do you get it now? All right, so that's good. But what I want us to do is this. I told you that you can pass in a JavaScript value. It can be an object. It can be an object. It can be an array. An object can be an array. It can also be a function. Do you get it now? So now let us pass an object into this props. So let's say, for example, the things that we want to get dynamically is the name, the occupation, the skills, that's the language React, and the YouTube link. So we want to save that inside of a variable. So to do that, let's just call this, what is it? So here, let's call this const my detail. So please, my detail here is different from this my detail here. This a component. You can see it's starting with capital letter M. So my detail, then I can pass name like this as Tola. Then I can pass occupation as web developer. Then the next one, I can, then what is that? That should be language or skill. Let's just use skill. So this will be React, and YouTube link. So let's just copy this. Let's copy this. Copy and paste it here. So can you see that now? So let's save. So let me change this back to, let's change it back to Joshua. So we save, so I will not have any error. So this is what we have here. So this is the object that is inside of this component called my first component. Now I want to pass this object that is stored inside of this variable called my detail. I want to pass it as a props into my details component. So to pass it, there are two ways we can do that. We can do it like this. We can pass it like this, my detail, like this. Pass my detail. Can you see that? So here, if I console.log my detail, if I console.log props, yeah. If I console.log props, now look at what we have. So the props, like I said, is an object, and the object is an object that is holding this value. So if you look at the props, is an object and is having a property called person, and the person also is a nested object, because if you enlarge this now, can you see the person is the property of the props, and even the person also have what, an object inside of it. So it is a nested object. Can you see that this is what, a nested object? And for us to be able to destructure this now, we can do something like const. Let us destructure the person from the props. So say person, then equals to what, props. Then once we console the log on person, let us see what we have. Console the log person. Can you see now? We have this object. So this object that we have here is actually the value of the person attribute. But even this is an object. We can still destructure this. We can also what, destructure it. And to destructure it, so it's like we are having object inside of an object. So to destructure it, we can do it like this. If I still remember, I think it's like this. Then we have name, we have occupation, we have skills, skill, we have YouTube link, like this. So here, so if I console the log, name, for instance, and let's see what we have. Oh, if I console the log name, for instance, and let's see what we have here. Can you see I'm having taller? Good. So this is a nested destructuring. So first of all, I destructured the person, then I went ahead to destructure what? The props. So I can either do it like this, or let me comment this. Let me just comment this for reference. I can do it like this, or I can just destructure the props from here. I can do it like this and destructure the props from here. Can you see? If I destructure the props from here, so I can get the person container now. Sorry, the person that I'm destructuring from props. So I can do something like this. Am I correct? Okay, it's like this. It's going to be person. It's going to be person like this. You see it? So let's console. So can you see now? We have this. So I destructure the person. I destructure the props object immediately as we pass it into this my details as the parameter. I destructure it from here. I don't have to do it this way. I destructure it from here. So now I can do something like this. Let me just then I can destructure the person. Then I can do const like this, and I can have the name and all. So it's going to be copy, paste it here, then equals to person like this. The graph. So let me just bring this down. So here I can uncomment, and if I save, I'm still going to get the same thing. Can you see that? Fantastic. So I'm showing you different ways actually. So we can either do it like this, or let me comment this now. And instead of passing it like this, the property and the value like this. So all of this is the props. So instead of passing it like this and be doing nesting destructuring, I'll be destructuring this. This is like a 2-layer destructuring. This is 2-layer nesting, so I have to destructure it in 2 layers. So can you see how it is? But I can just do something like this. I can pass in a props instead of passing these details as a value of this property, as a value of this person property. I can just do it like this. I can remove this person here, and I can spread my details. I will spread my details. So I'm spreading my details object. I'm spreading it into a new object. I'm spreading my details object into the props object. I'm spreading it into the props object. So yeah, so now in this case, if I remove it and I type props, for example, and so I come here and I console the log props. I console the log props. So here, this is what we have. Can you see? And I told you that props is actually an object. So what I'm doing is I'm spreading this my details object. And what is inside my details? This name, occupation, all of them. I'm spreading it. And the meaning of spread is to unpack. So spread is to unpack all the properties from an existing object and putting it into a new object. So we are unpacking all of this from this my detail object and passing it into the props object. So when I console the log props, look at what we have here. So instead of saving this my detail object or passing it as a value to the person attribute, so we can do it like this. So in this case, we can easily destructure. So we can come here. We can even destructure everything from here. We can destructure everything from here, but let's not do it. Okay, I'm still going to show you that. Let me duplicate this. I can destructure it from here. So here is no longer going to be person, it's going to be what? Props. So let me uncomment it. So here, if I say console.log name, for example, I'm going to get this. Can you see taller? Good. So I can also destructure this directly from the object, from the component for this place. I can destructure it here like this. So I just need to comment this. So if I save, we'll still get the same result. Can you see? Fantastic. Now, so now let's now do it. Let's now change all of this dynamically. So it's going to be this. I'm going to pass name like this. So here is going to be a full stack web developer. So I'm going to do something like this. So it's going to be occupation. Okay, let me remove this full stack. Just I'm a web developer. So I love coding in React. So let's remove this to skill. Then this part here that we have in our href, let's remove the link and let's make it a YouTube link. Correct. So if you save now and we still get the same thing. So if I click on this, it will take me to my YouTube channel. Did you get it now? It's very simple. Very simple. Alright. Let's delete it, though it's taking time to load. So let's come back here. So this is what I actually so you can see we've made a bit of progress. So now the next thing I want us to do is let's say, for example, I don't want to have my details component in the same file with my first component, with this first component. I don't want to have it. I don't want to have it. So what do you think I'm going to do? I don't want to have this component in the same file with this. So I want to put this inside of a separate file. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this and cut it. So I'm going to create a new file. Then I will call this my details.js. My details.js. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create there's a snippet that we can use to create a React component very fast. It is called what's it called now? Alright, it is called yes, it is called ES7 plus React Redux React Native snippet. So please ensure you install this extension and install this extension. Thank you. So now I'm going to create a code snippet for React functional component export. Let me make this. Let's do this. So this one, I don't need this React one here. So this is what we have. So I'm just going to delete this. Okay, so I think I already, let me just delete this one here. I already copied it here. So good. So let's make this a function. A function declaration. My details. Good. Supposed to be my details. So here, my details. So let me change the name here. So here is going to be my details, enter. So I think we are good to go. So let me remove this. Alright, so good. So now this will lead me to, let me remove this. So yeah, this will lead me to what I call the named export and the default export. The named export and the default export. So I'm going to explain it to the best of my knowledge. The named export and the default export. So let's start with the named export. For example, let's say you want to export this and you type export like this. So though you can have many files or many code or what they call it now, many components inside of my details file here. And this export simply means that you are exporting this individual function. You are exporting this individual function. You are exporting this. So this one here, once you have the export keyword, we're having the export keyword here. So it simply means that this is what a named export. This is a named export. So we are trying to export only my details component. We are trying to export it from this file. So even though we have multiple components in this file, even though we have multiple components in this file and we pass in this keyword export to this, it's only this one is going to only export my details component. Every other one will not be exported except you put the export keyword to it too. So now to be able to export this, because this is a name export. So now if you save and want to export it into our GXS, because we want to export it, then we want to import it into the JSX, because this is where we want to use it, because this is where my details component was declared. So now was returned, or yes, rendered. Actually, let me use rendered. Rendered is the best word. So now to do this, we have to import it. So since we are importing a named export, it means that when you are importing a named export, you have to import the name. You cannot change the name. So it's going to be like this: import, then my details. So if I click on my details, can you see? Let's delete this part here. Can you see what we have? Let me show you again. Import, let's say my details. If I click on my details, can you see what? It's exporting this for me. And look at the part. So you have to specify the part. Import my details from my details file. The module, my details file. So can you see that now? Very, very simple. Very simple. So this is a named export. So as a result, you have to import the name component. But if you are using a default export, for example, because if I save this now it's going to, what's the problem? Cannot find my detail export. What? Okay. Hold on. Something is wrong here. Correct now. Everything is correct. So, this part. Oh, sorry, my bad. Alright, so, you know what? I'm going to copy all of this. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to delete this part here because it has been registered as details, the small d. So let me just delete this. Delete this. Yes. Let me create a new file. Let me call it my details.js. Alright, good. So I'll just paste everything there. Good. So here, import my details. It's still giving me this. Alright, let's move on with this. So can you see? I'm still getting the same thing. But if I'm using if I'm using the default export, so let me just do something like this. I am exporting it using the export default. So I'll say export default, and I'm exporting, what's the name again? My details. Yeah, I'm exporting my details here. I'm exporting my details here, and I save. If I come here, I don't have, so since I'm not using a named export, so I just need to remove this coilies. So it's going to be my details like this, because if I import this, for example, I do import and I type my details and I press enter, Can you see what is giving to us? It's different from the named export. So if you save now, can you see? Still the same thing. So this is export default, and the beauty of export default is that you can change the name here, but in the named export you are exporting the exact name. But in this case, I can change it to my info, for example, and here my info, then I can pass in what's it here? Okay, I can pass in my info here, and I save. If I save, it's still going to give me the same thing. So this is the advantage of default export, because you have the flexibility, the leniency to be able to you have the opportunity to be able to change the name when you are importing it into a new file. You can change the name of what you are exporting by default. So you get it now. So let's just bring it back to the normal one. All right, save. So you can see that we have been able to, enhance our code a bit, make it better by creating a separate component for this. We have explained props. So now let's see how we can build this web page. Let's see. All right. So from the knowledge that we have gathered, so far, learned the props and all that. So let's build this. Let us build this. So let's do that right away. Now notice that we have different pictures here. Let me just copy the link here. Copy the link and let's do it here. Let's paste it here. Yep. Ooh. Here we go. All right. So what are we going to do? Let us build this. But let me show you. Now you can see that these images, they are different images, and you can see this is the title of the book, and this is the author of the book. The same thing, they are different data. So this is a separate book. So how can we, now what we want to do now is we want to have this in a separate data object or a data array. We want to save this information as an object in an array. So let's say this is the first object, and the first object is holding the information or the content of this book. The second object will hold the content of this book, and the third object will hold the content of this book. So we are going to store it inside of an array. Then we will now use a method of array that is allowed or permitted in React, which is map, to iterate through the array and be able to display this dynamically. So to do that, first of all, I'm going to create a new React app. So it's going to be React project. So here, I'm not going to use the traditional way of creating React app. I'm just going to use Vite. So I'm going to use Vite. So let us look at Vite. So Vite is faster in creating than the traditional way of creating React app. So this is what we are going to be using going forward. So we have get started. So what we want to do is to download copy the template, the command for creating a React app. But what I have here is a view template. So we are just going to convert it to React. So I'm just going to copy this. Ensure that your npm version is above 7. And this extra double dash here, can you see extra double dash is needed? So you are not to delete it. Don't delete it. So we come here, we open our terminal. Let's open our terminal. So here, what I'm going to do here is to cancel this, the development server. We want to cancel it. So to cancel the development server, just come to your terminal and then press Ctrl C. So press Ctrl C is going to terminate the development server. Press Ctrl C. Can you see it? It's telling you, do you want to terminate the bash job? So just type yes. That's why. Then press enter. You press enter, the development server has been terminated. So you can clear this. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to move back to React.js tutorial. We want to move back to React.js tutorial because apparently where we are now, we are in React Tut 1. But we want to create a new React app, and we don't want to create it inside of React Tut 1. We want to create it as a subfolder of React.js tutorial. So how do we move up to the parent folder? All we just have to do is just type cd ... and / cd ... and / is going to take us to the parent folder of this folder. Then here we can now paste what we copied from there. So in this case now, we are not working with Vue, we are working with React, so we change it to React. And in this case, so leave the rest. So I'm just going to change this my Vue app. I'm going to change it to React project 1. I think that's okay. Then enter. Press enter. It's going to scaffold a React app for us. So this doesn't really take time as much as the traditional way of creating React app using npx create React app, blah blah blah. So this will create React app for us. The Vue.js will create a Vue. This will help us to create a React app faster than the usual one. So can you see? Done. So it has scaffolded the project for us. Can you see? Done. So what we need to do is to now run some things here. We have to change directory from React.js tutorial to cd react pro.1. So that's what we want to do. So let's change the directory. So we are just going to follow this procedure here. So it's going to be React project, then 1. Then afterwards, we are going to type npm install so that we can install all the dependencies. So npm install. Then after npm install, then we are going to type npm run dev. So this might just take like a few seconds or probably a minute or 30 seconds to install. So let's wait. Alright, so the installation is completed. So the next thing that we need to do is to run npm, is to start the development server. So it's going to be npm run dev. Now press enter. So you can see that this method is faster than the other one. So once you over on this link, is saying that you should type control. So once you click on or press down on control button, you can see this cursor here, this pointer here, then click on it. It's going to open this React for you, this here. It's going to open it here. So let me just leave this part here. So this is what we have. Alright, yeah, so this is what we have here. So what I'm going to do is, so this is our React tutorial project 1. So here in this case, I don't think I need this anymore. So here in this case, you can see it's quite similar to the normal way of creating React app. It's just that the public folder, the index.html is not in the public folder. So, but it's almost the same. So what I'm going to do is, I don't think I need the app.css and the app.js. So I'm just going to delete them. I will delete them and going to delete them. Yep. So So here, if I go to the source, alright, so let's see what we have. Hope I did not delete the, it's like I deleted comma, like I deleted alright, so there's a mistake here. I deleted something I was not supposed to delete. Okay, coming. I was supposed to, oh, okay. Alright. I didn't delete anything. I'm mistaking it as this. And okay, good. So I'm just going to delete this app.js. I want to delete this and delete this. That's all. App.js and app.jsx. I don't need it. So, alright, here we have downloaded we have deleted the app.js and the app.gxs, the app.css and the app.js. The slight difference between the normal way of creating React app and using Vite is that the normal way of creating React app, you will see something like it is index dot, what is it now? Index.js. But in this case, it is called main.jxs. So you use JXS. So when you are creating a component, you don't use JS, you use what? JXS as what? The extension. Please take note of that. So now when we click on the main.js, since we have deleted the app.js, we have deleted the app.jxs. So let's just delete these two as well. And I will save. Also, I'm going to remove this. Then I'm going to render a book list, though I have not created that yet. I'm going to render a book list. I'm going to render this, so I'm going to create a book list. I'll call it function function, then book list. Let's just return. Let's return an h1 and say my book list project. Then if you click on the index.css, I don't think I need all of this. Let me just highlight all. Let me highlight all and delete. If I save, now this my file, my book list. So what I want us to do is to build something like this. So I want you to go to, let us search for, we are going to do it together. Let's search for, let's go to Amazon. I don't know why my browser is slow, or my laptop generally is slow. Alright, so here you are going to search for Amazon bestseller book. Then you click on any of these. Just click on the first option that you see here, book bestseller Amazon. So here I'm going to download this. So what I want to do is this. Inside of the main JXS, I'm going to have a book, because this book list consists of several books. So I'm going to create that book here. So I'm going to call it const book, or let me use an arrow function. book equals this. So I want to return an article. In this article, so return an article. In this article, I'm going to have image. I'm going to have h2, and I'm going to have h4. Yeah. So yes. So and here I'm going to return a section. Inside of this section, I'm going to pass the book. This book. So I don't think this should be new to you. I don't think this kind of method should be new to you. I don't think so. So what we are going to do is I'm just going to copy one of this image here. I think the best thing to do, okay, let me first of all show you from this angle. So copy image address. So I'm going to copy image address and I paste it here. And let's just use any name here. I just say Joshua, and here I can say, okay, this title of the book, let's just say interesting, for example, interesting, and let's say the author is Joshua. So save, and let's see what we have here. Can you see? Simple. So I can duplicate, if I want this book to be, if I want to have this book multiple times, all I just have to do is to duplicate this multiple times. 3 times, I'm going to have it like this. Can you see? But this is not what we want. We want it to be like this. We want it to be like this so that you can have different data. So what we are going to do is this. I'm going to come here and I'm going to download this image. So I'll come here, I'll download this image. Where is it? Save as. I'll save it as book image 1. Then I'll come here, also right click and save this as book image 2. And which other one again? Book image 2. And let's use this. Let me use this one. So I'm going to, let me start with this. Save as book img3. Then this will be, I'll right click. So this will be book img4. Yeah. So let's download another one. Which one can we download? So I'll download this one too. So that will be book img5. I'll make it 6 actually. So I want to make this 6. So this will be book img6. Book img6. So here, so what we are going to do, I'm going to have this inside of a data. So those images that are downloaded, I'm going to create inside of I'm going to create an image component. Sorry, an image, I'm going to create an image folder inside of my source folder. So I'll right click on the source. I'll right click, then I'll create a new folder. So I'll call this images. So let me just do this like this. So here, So I'm going to move all of the images here. So I'm just going to move this to this place, then move this to this place, move this to this place, to this place. That's 4. Move this to this place. That's 5. And move this to this place. That's 6. Good. Then I'm going to create a data JS where we are going to have our each book content. We are going to save it inside of a data JS. So to do that, inside of the source attribute, inside of the source folder, I'm going to create a file. I'm going to create a file, then I'll call it data.js. So this is not a component. I am not creating a component. If I'm creating a component, I have to make it data. I might have to make it, the extension will have to be JSX because I'm using Vite React app, the Vite React app. So if you are creating a component, it has to be what JSX. So now in this case, I want to export const. Okay, let me export this like this. I'm exporting this. So it's going to be the first one there. No. Export const data like this. So the first one, yeah. So the first one is going to be an object. So we have that will be the name. Okay, sorry, I think title. Or let's start with author. Okay, let's start with an ID of what? 1. Then author. The name of the author will be, let's start with this. The author is Tony Ruben. Okay, let me put it in a string, sorry. You know what, I'm going to do this on my own. So I'm just going to pause the video and do this on my own so that the video won't take long. Alright guys, I'm done with the information. I'm done with this. So I'm probably going to send I'm going to send the file to you. I'm going to send the file to you on YouTube. So let's move on. Let us also pass the image here. You know, we could have saved this image or pass this image into this asset folder, but we are having it in a separate folder inside of the source. So how can we use the image that we have here? How can we use it here? Because notice we don't have any image here. So to do that, we have to import the image and say import. Let's say import. Let us call this image 1 from then dot as the images / image 1. Then we do import image 2 from this images / image 2. So I'm just going to duplicate this. So this is going to be image 3, image 4, image 5, and image 6. So here's going to be image 3, 4, 5, and what? 6. Simple. So you get it now. So here we are going to now pass in the image. It's going to be img like this. So I'm not going to put it inside of a string. We're just going to be it like this, img1. You see it now, the same thing too. So I'm just going to copy this, copy and paste it here. Paste it here. Paste it here. So if you save, there is going to be image 1, there is going to be image 2. While here, image 3, image 4, 5, and 6. Let's save that. So this is what we have. I think I should have them. Let's have them like this. Good. Let's have them like this. So good. So this is what we have. So we imported all the images from this file here. So just now to the data file is inside of the source. You see the data where the data file is seated and where the image also is. They are in the same folder. They are in the same parent. They are in the same parent. So I think by now you should know how to I'm going to put it select. You should know how to use path now. You should be very conversant with path. So I don't think I need to teach that in this React course. So let's move on. So you can see I'm giving it an ID. So notice how we imported all of these images. So I'm giving this image 1 here from the image folder. I'm giving it a name. So I'm giving it img2 So you can actually give it any name. So here, so I'm passing it like this. So this is the first book. The first book has an ID of 1, the author, the title, and the image like this. So you get it now. So the next thing I want us to do is to convert this image here, this book that we have here. I'm just going to copy I'm going to cut this out. So I'm going to create a new component for that. So let me do that here. Inside of the source, I will create a new file and I will call it book. Now since it's a component I want to create, it's going to be book.jsx like this. Book.jsx, and once I type rfce, it's going to automatically generate this for me. So you have to have that extension, please. So now here I don't need this return. I'm just going to delete it because I'll paste it here. So can you see what we have here? Simple. So now I'm exporting by default. So since I'm exporting by default, so I'm going to come here. I'll say import book. Once I press enter, look at, it's already specifying the path name for me. So once I press enter, it's going to get the path where this book component is seated. So that's it. So that's all. If I save and look at what we have, still back to this part, still the same thing actually. Can you see? Still the same thing. So what I want us to do is, I want us to give this section a class name. So the class name is going to be class. So when we are using, we want to give it a class name. So in React, it's going to be class name, not class. It's going to be class name, not what? Class. So the class name is going to be book list. Let's see, it's going to be what? Book list. When we save. Why? For this book.jss, the article name, we're going to give it a class name, and it's going to be book. Yes, it's going to be book. Correct. So save. Now what we need is to style this. Let us style this. So to style this, we'll come to index.css. Then we'll do a universal reset. So you know that. So that will be margin. So I'm going to be fast with this. Margin is 0. Padding is 0. Box sizing to be border box. Then here the body, we are going to give it a font family. So we are going to use the system UI. Oh, sorry. I meant font family, not font size. So the system UI, then here I'm going to give it a background color of ash 6983 and 97, then the color of ash 222. So that's it. Then we select the book list. So say dot book list like this. We give it a width. Give it a width of 90 viewport width, 90 viewport width. Then the max width is going to be 1170 pixel. Then the margin will be 5 rem and auto. Then we display grid. Then we set the gap to be 2 rem, both horizontally and vertically. Then let us style the book. That's the article. So it's going to be background color should be white. Then the border radius should be 1 rem. The padding should be 2 rem. Text align should be center, and then position relative. So then let's start the image. The image is going to be width 100%. Then object fit is going to be cover. Then let's start the H2. The H2 will be font size 1 rem. Then let's give it a color of green. Let's see how it looks like. Then this other one, the H4, let's give it a font style to be italicized. So it's going to be italic. Then the font size should be smaller. So it's going to be 0.75 rem. Then I think that's all for now. Then let us look at the media query. So media query, screen, and mean width. So once the minimum width is from 768 pixel upward. Once the minimum width is from 768 pixel upward, then we want the book list. We want the book list to be, we want the grid template column to be repeat. We want it to repeat 3 times. So that's 1 FR. So if you save now, and let's see what we have here. Can you see? Can you see? So if I enlarge this now, look at what we have. Beautiful. Beautiful. So compared to this, it's almost the same. So I'm just going to copy this part here, and I will do inside of the main JX. So I'll do like an H1, and I'll paste this there. So let's see what we have. Okay. That should be coming. Let me do it. Let me cut it. Let me do it here. H1. Paste it here. So here it's giving me error. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it and put it inside the fragment. Inside of the fragment like this. So that's what we have. Good. So I can style this now. I think let's use this color here. Sorry. Copy. And use that color. for the body. Where's the body again? So let me use that color. So if you save, good. So let's make the, so let me teach you how to use CSS in JSX. It's very simple. So come here, where's the H1? So want to style the H1. So to style the H1, you just need what? Style like this. Then this style, so you are trying to write a CSS inside of this JSX. So it's going to give you automatically a curly bracket. Normally in CSS, if you're writing in HTML, if you're writing an inline CSS, it's going to bring that double quote, but here it's giving you a curly brace. So this is JSX. So this is JSX. So now let's move on. Now if you want to now style this, you can now do something like this. You need another curly brace. So then you can type let's say for example H1, let's say margin, or what can we call it now? Okay, text align. I want it to be what? Center. So you can see the difference between text align here and text align in CSS. It is capitalized. It's using camel casing. Text, no hyphen, you just text align, camel case. Then that's all. Then I think I need the comma. Then margin top. Where's margin top? I need something like foreign. So if you save this, okay, this should be the quote like this. So if you save this now, let's see what we have. What's the problem? Something is wrong somewhere. Hold on, guys. What's the problem? Something is wrong. Let's see. What could be wrong? Or am I getting something else now? Hold on. The center is not defined. Oh, is this supposed to be like this? Yes, I think so. Oh. Let's save. Alright. My bad. So can you see that now? So the margin top, let's do margin top here. It's going to be inside the quote. That'll be foreign. So let's save that. So we are good to go. Can you see? Beautiful. Then in the index.js, where we have H1, where is it? I think the book to be, yes, this part to be 5 rem. Let's make it 2 rem. Good. So I think it's looking similar to this. That's good. It's looking similar to this. So let's move on. So this is using inline CSS. So this is how inline CSS works. First of all, you need to put your inline CSS inside of a JSX. So it has to be like this. So we can cut this. Now we can call this and put it inside the const. I can say styled. I can just call it styled element like this, and equals something like this. If I save this and styled element, then I can pass it here as styled element like this. So if I save, the same thing. So can you see this now? So this is an inline CSS. This is going to be an inline CSS. So you can have it like this, or you can just come to your index.js and select the H1. Select H1 and write the style in there. But I'm just going to keep it like this. So, alright. So I think that is all. But what we want to do is, we are not there yet, because we still want to, the data.js that we have here. We want to iterate over this data.js inside of the main JSX, so that we can have those images displayed and the content of the book displayed instead of having it like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this. I'm just going to pass in book like this. So if I do this now, I want to select the GSX now, the what they call it. I want to select this, the data. I want to select this data. So I'm exporting this data. So this is a name, this is a named export. So to export it in main.gss is going to be import data. Is it? I think it's data like this. Import data. Can you see? It will automatically import it for me. So this is a named export. So that's why we're having it like this. So what I'm going to do is this. I want to loop over this element, because I want to loop over this element so that I can get all the content that is inside. And for me to loop over this element, I'm going to cut this. No, not this. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut this. Or I don't. Okay, yeah, this part. So here, this is where I want to iterate it here, because this section is where we are going to. If this section book, this section content, this section HTML here, the JSX is where we are going to have all the list of books. All the list of books. So I'm going to come here. So for me to have the list of book here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like this. So I'm trying to iterate over this data here, and to do that I want to iterate data inside of this section here that is in this return, this GSX. And to do that, it's like you are trying to do JavaScript logic inside of a GSX, and to do that you have to put it inside of what, a curly brace. So now the next thing is to type data then dot map. So because map is the only loop method that you can use to loop over an array in React. I think, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know, maybe there are other ones. So it's map. So inside this map, I think by now you should know how to use map, because map is actually used to iterate through an array. So it is actually an array method, and I don't think I want to spend too much time on that now. So this map is actually an order function that receives a callback function. So this callback function, we can either do it like a normal regular function or an arrow function. So let's just do it like an arrow function, like this, then like this. So this data.js, we are going to pass in book like this, book. So this book is representing the current element of this data, data array. So in this callback function receives three parameters: the current element, the index of the current element, and the entire array. But we are not really interested in the index or the array. We are just interested in the current element. So as it iterates through the data array, it's going to be having access to each of the elements in that data array. So here we are going to now do this. So what do we want to do? We want to return a GSX from this. We want to return a GSX. So to return a GSX, this, in fact, can you see this is already giving us what we have there. So we want to return, in this case now, I want to return the book component, that this book that we have, the book that we imported, we want to paste it here. Then we want to now pass in, okay, I think let's do it together. So this is what we want to do here. So we have this book, because if you console.log, hold on, let me comment this part here. If you console.log book, for example, if you console.log book, for example, and let us see what we have here. Let's console.log book. This tutorial is already taking too much time. So let's refresh this. So we'll see all the objects. So can you see the 6 objects? So with the help of map, when we map through the data, is going to give us, is going to bring out all the elements that is inside of what the map. And look at all the elements, they are all objects that is holding different book content. So when we console the log book, we have all of this here. So do you get it now? So now in this case, we want to pass this book now as a props from this parent component, which is book list. We want to pass this book as a props into this book component. So to pass this now, we need to, first of all, to pass this, we need to do book data like this, then equals book like this. We can do it like this, or we can just spread the book. We can spread the book like this. I've shown you how already, so I don't think I need to explain this again. So we can spread this book like this. Once you spread it, let me remove this one that we have here. We spread it, then we'll come to the book GSX. So here we can pass it in as a props. So we can say props. So we can say props. So we pass this as a props. So if you console the log props, for instance, console the log props, for instance, if you save this now and you console the log it, we are still having, let me refresh this. Can you see? We are still having all of this. So this is the props. So look at what we are having here. It's giving us a warning. It says each child in a list should have a unique key prop. So each child in a list should have a unique key props. So it means that we need that unique key. So for us to do that, that is the reason why we have the ID. So each object is having a different ID, ID1 to ID6. So we are going to pass that key inside of the main GXS where we are rendering the book component. So we are going to pass it here and we're going to say key. So key, so it's going to be book.id. Can you see book.id? If you save that now and you refresh, you won't see that again. So we need that anytime we iterate through an object, we look through an object and we are passing what we iterated as a props to another component. We have to use that key method, that key. So that's why I gave it ID of different value. So now what we are going to do, come back to the props. So here in this props now, I can destructure the props. I can say const. So I'm destructuring the props. I think what we have there is the ID. I don't think I need ID. The image, the author, and the title. So that will be equals to props. So do you get that now? So here, let us now dynamically put this in. So in this place here, where we have the image source, I'm going to remove it. I'm going to pass in img. So this shouldn't be new to you guys. So this auth here, I'm just going to pass in title. So here, the h2 will represent the title of the book. So we'll say title of the book. So we'll pass it like this as a GSX title. Then here will be author. So that will be author like this. So if you save this now, guys, look at what we have. Now can you see? Let me delete this first. So can you see what we have here now? Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So it's now looking like what we have here. So all we just need is to pass in this ID for each of the book. So to do that, I think I have to also pass this ID here like this. So we are going to have a span under a span. We are going to have a span under this article. We are going to have a span. So that span is going to be we are going to give it an ID like this. So it's going to be hashtag ID. Let's do it like the hashtag ID. So if you save, so can you see hashtag 1, hashtag 2, hashtag 3. So what we are going to do is, since in the article, the book article, if I'm not mistaken, in this index.css, the book article, you can see that we gave it a position of what relative. Then we are going to select the span now, the span. So we are going to make it position position absolute. So we'll say top to be is 0 and left to be is 0. Let's see what we have. So can you see? Good, fantastic. So here, let me do this. Let me copy this background image here. So here I'm going to say background color to be this, and the padding also, let's make it 1 rem, and what they call it now, the color to be white. So let's do it like this. Let's see what we have. So can you see? So we can do border radius. I think that should be 50 if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. No, this is not what I want. I think the top left will be, let me see it from here. The top left will be curved. So top left will be 50, top right will be 0, and which other one again? Top left, top bottom, and this. So it's going to be like this. Yeah. So yeah. Alright, so it's not looking like this. I'm having some, why is that so? Hold on guys, display. No, I don't think it's because of display. Hold on guys. Alright, guys, let's do it like this. I couldn't rectify the error, but let's do it like this. It doesn't have to be like that. So let's do it like this. So this is it here. I just change this. So border radius. So the top left is 0, the top right is 0, the bottom right is 50 pixel, and the bottom left is 0. So we can just do it like this. Instead of going through this process, you can just say border radius, border bottom right radius, border bottom right radius, and let's make it 50 pixel. I think this is better. So still the same thing. So can you see, this is our first project. Beautiful. This is our first project, and I'm sure you like it. Let's increase the span a bit. Let's make it 1 rem. Let's see. Okay, let's increase it to 1.5. Let me see. Alright, good. It's too big. Don't you think it's too big? Let's keep it as 1.11 rem. Let's just make it font weight to be bold. Let's just make the font weight to be bold. Alright, good. I think we are done. We are done with our project. So I'm sure you enjoy it. So if you reduce the screen size, from so from 768, minimum of 768. Can you see? This is what we have. So below 768 is going to be in a block form like this. Beautiful. So that's that. We are done with this project. So that's it. We'll meet again in our next class. In our next class, I'm going to introduce hooks, use state hook, and use effect hook, and we're also going to build a project on that too as well. Alright, until then, do have a lovely day. So please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please do subscribe, like, and comment. All right, bye.